Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Access for Microsoft Teams Flex webinar. Super excited to be here again today to talk about our product Flex, and thank you everyone for taking the time to come along. So first of all, you've got myself, Matthew Jameson, and I'm joined by Clint Burke as well. Clint, do you want to say hello and tell us how you found your way here?
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name's Clinton. I'm a product manager at Access4. I look after WebEx services as well as team services. Been in the industry for north of 20 years and jumped at the opportunity to join up with Access4. They're doing some great things with team services and WebEx. And it seemed like a really good fit, Matt. So I'm here because I participated in the Flex product, and I think we're positioning teams today. So it's probably a good time to join in.
So that's a good portfolio you've got there, haven't you? Two fighting masses, right?
Oh, it's crazy. It's very busy. Everybody's going AI, so it's an AI overload at the moment. But yeah, all good.
Yeah, good. Well, thanks for that, Clinton. So for those that I haven't met or you haven't come across me before, Matthew Jameson's my name. I'm head of channel here at Access4. So I look after all of our account teams that look after our partner ecosystem. And for those of you here today that are looking to come on board with Access4, you would be coming on board and being given one of my team members to love and look after you. So super excited to take any inquiries about coming on board with us after the session. But ultimately, we're here to give you a bit of a rundown on what is our team's environment. But we want to start a little bit within general terms around who is Access4 and what do we do. So let's jump in. So again, welcome, Matt and Clint here to help. Questions at the end, please make sure that you put your questions into the Q&A chat section, and we'll get through those. But please feel free to do that anytime as we progress through the webinar. So Access4, we're about collaboration, connecting users through voice. That's us, voice specialists in every way. Access4 is a channel-only provider of voice, unified communications for managed service providers and their customers. And ultimately, we enable our partners to be able to bring voice into their product stack. About us, as I said, 100% channel. We've got around 400 channel partners now. We're built in the cloud for the cloud, with about 12,500 businesses across Australia and New Zealand that rely on Access4's product set through our partners and our partner ecosystem to deliver their unified communications teams and other product sets that are all revolve around that unified communications as a service and feature set. As I said there, we're Australia and New Zealand, all support built in and around Australia and New Zealand with both infrastructure and boots on the ground in both countries. And as it says, 350 plus, but we're actually closer to 400 these days. And obviously super keen to have anyone come and join our family of partners. We've got some pretty certificates here, ISO certified. Look, we're very proud of our ISO certifications. There was a lot of work put into these to get all 4 of the ISO certifications. What does this mean? It means that you're dealing with a quality establishment that's taken the time to build the processes and systems to ensure that we can deliver a quality service and product, but it's also good in our sell with model. We get in the trenches with our partners and help them sell to their clients. And if you've got big clients, tenders, government, enterprise organizations, ISO certifications are always super important, particularly the 27001 security. So again, just part of that. Why are we unique? We're unique in that we have a fully integrated product where we can do invoicing, carrier grade technology. We're self-service portal. What do I mean by that? You don't need our help to generate a service, generate a customer, pull down a direct number. start a porting process to all self-serve inside our SaaS Boss environment. We keep the revenue with you, no revenue leakage. It's not a CapEx model, so you can you can keep your cash and cash flow in the bank, and start building that really valuable monthly recurring revenue stream that we help you provide through a really easy, sticky voice environment. Again, just important for the audience that we've got here. I want to go through these things so you understand exactly that full value proposition that is Access4, but we're going to get right into the Teams environment very shortly. Again, I mentioned there, local support, leading tech, product development, reporting and analytics. We're here for MSPs. We have MSP integrations, and again, 100% channel only. We can't succeed unless our partners succeed, and that we think is a really great partnership for success. So, Microsoft Teams, have you ever heard of it? Do you know about it? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I'm pretty sure you have. I'm going to recall a little story I had March 2020 back in the day when we didn't know what a pandemic was, and I was in my office environment, and one of the crew said to me, "Hey Matt, have you caught up with James? I left a message to let you know that he called." And I said, "No, didn't know that was the case," and they said, "Oh, I sent it to you in Teams." Teams? I don't use Teams. Why would you send it to me in Teams? Anyway, there you go. That was March 2020, and I reckon the week after that, we were working from home and gone into lockdown, and I certainly by that stage knew exactly what Microsoft Teams was all about. But I think, you know, to where we are today, 4 years down the track, post-pandemic, and the statistics are amazing at the take-up rates that have been Microsoft Teams. And why would you not make the most of that? Microsoft's backbone, reputation, marketing machine is something that we all love and would love to have. So why not partner up with it? And that's why we get into this product set with Microsoft Teams. So I'm not going to go too much into it. I think we all know what Teams is all about. Fantastic product set, and we just want to get part of the action. So here we are into our Microsoft Teams stack. So as I said to you at the start there, Access4 has a wide variety of product sets, and Microsoft Teams is just one vertical that we deliver a product set to. But it's a vertical within a vertical because we do have a range of product sets inside the Microsoft Teams vertical. So what do I mean by that? Where do we start? So this is a pretty busy diagram, but it does explain pretty well what it is we do. So let's start at the top. We got Teams channel, or lots of people hear it as direct routing. Essentially, let's just enable the telephone lines that go into Teams to get that Teams environment being able to make and receive calls. And direct routing's been around for a little while, and we've got a fantastic backbone that delivers that direct routing into the Teams environment. We're also in the Microsoft Store, Operator Connect. So it's a self-serve, self-help environment that allows end customers to shop around in the Microsoft environment for a provider to deliver that direct routing or telephone lines into their Microsoft environment. We think it's a great achievement to be in the Operator Connect environment, and it has certainly been a lead source for our partner network. We have quite a few end customers that are not allocated to partners that are just out and about looking for an Operator Connect partner. They come to us, we vet and qualify those and then pass them out to our partner network for delivery and deployment. Again, sticking to that, we're 100% channel and we support our partners to the end. Then we have a user-based version of direct routing. So we do this to allow us to have the ability to deliver a more enhanced version of the Teams environment. So with direct routing, you get native Teams functionality. So if Teams can do it from a functional perspective, then that's the environment and functionality that you get. In our user-based environment, we're actually using our Class 5 SIP platform in the back end to deliver high-end complex call routing equations that are beyond the standard environment in a native Teams platform, and we layer that underneath the Teams environment. To the end customer, they don't see it. What they see is just it's just that native Teams environment that they get to see and work in, but we're doing all the call routing and call flows underneath in our Class 5 SIP functionality. Why would you do that? One, complex call environments. The other is the ability to add on some products. So we add on things like PCI compliant call recording, and the ability to do analytics, the ability to do call center functionality in that environment. Okay, and we've had those products in our Teams stack for a reasonable amount of time now. We were pretty early to the game in the height of the pandemic to be able to deliver this Teams environment, but we've continued to develop our product set and enrich that environment as we've come along, which really then leads us to Flex. So, Clint, you were a big part of the development of this. Why Flex, and why do we get to this point?
Okay, sure. As you know, we run a portal, an ideas portal that our partners would request features and functions. And, we address this portal, and we develop a plan for the year to improve certain services in deployment or management of team services. So we're trying to build a frictionless team deployment and management. So we do assess them, some of the bigger ticket items, because there is a finite type resource involved. We would categorize, and we ultimately looking for the best bang for buck, if I can put it that way. So after careful assessment, something partners requested was something like Flex. And it really got to do with the ability to leverage off a shared resource like channel Teams, but also be able to provide enhanced services, advanced call features within the same enterprise. So what we ultimately did is assess that. We felt that all stakeholders in that value chain would benefit from it, i.e. customers would have more flexibility to pick or choose or mix and match in terms of native Teams as well as enhanced. And they'll have a more cost-effective solution. Partners would have more flexibility in what service they can put forward, and also more cost efficiency. So they'll ultimately be able to be, we'd think, more productive, but also reduce their costs and ultimately have a more competitive pricing.
Yep.
And from an Access 4 perspective, we would have more margin, how could I say, not perseverance, but certainly we'd be able to hold on to margin a lot more effectively than just discounts. It also means that we don't have to race those particular price points to the bottom of the market. So it was a good fit across the board. And from there onwards, we developed out a product that would allow you to have enhanced features as well as native. The ideal scenario for that would respect the SIP trunk usage, because once it's shared. So when you do a native transfer, it needs to release the trunk resource and then transfer the call correctly. Okay. So those were some of the key components into our selection.
Great, thank you. So it was really a concept that came from our partner environments, and also that a desire for our partners to be in that position where we add value, as opposed to race to the bottom on pricing with a Me Too product. So what we're trying to do here is achieve the best of all worlds, where we get to add value through feature and functionality, hold a price to ensure that we can hold margins, but then add value and flexibility to those end customers to deliver a good commercial outcome for them as well.
100% correct. It's purely driven out of partners. I'd love to be able to claim it in terms of an idea,
Ah, come on,
but
Clinton.
unfortunately not. Yeah, it's exactly those valuable points that partners are looking from providers or
Great.
vendors.
Okay. So hence the name Teams Flex. We came up with a flexible way to deliver teams. Let's get into a little bit about what that means. So I think it's important that, and part of the reason why I've gone through our current environment is to talk through that we have this channel environment, and that's telephone lines into Teams and a native environment, to this per user model, which allows us to keep that core telephony underneath and get some of those advanced functions and features that you get out of a carrier grade platform like ours. How do we then deliver? And to Clint's point, this did come out of the channel, and it came out of a challenge. What was the problem we were trying to solve here? Was to get a win-win for everyone. And Teams Flex does that by allowing you to mix those two models that I've just talked about together. So let's have a look at how that works a little bit. So ultimately, on one side of the equation, you had to select a per user model to ensure that callers have independent channels. So the per user model allows for ensuring that we've got everybody with a call and everyone that wants a call into it. On the right-hand side, we've got a channel, which is a contention model. So choose how many accesses you want to the outside world based on the number of users you've got in your Teams environment, and have that very typical telephony contention type model. But that doesn't allow you that advanced functionality. So how do we then bring the two together to give you advanced functionality with a contention ratio that meets a price point that's competitive in a marketplace to deliver that? Flexibility of provisioning for Teams. So this allows for the more advanced users to have continuous calling. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that those advanced users have dial tone guaranteed anytime they want to be able to make or receive a call. It's also more than that, particularly from an inbound perspective. That allows us to stack or queue calls behind that users using our infrastructure to have those calls queue. That means that we can queue calls, deliver calls, and guarantee dial tone to those advanced users. But at the same time, leverage a shared channel environment for the more back office user environment, where they don't have to have a guaranteed uptime of dial tone or guaranteed make a call, because the ratios dictate that never in the back office are they all going to be on the phone at the same time. And then to my point earlier to Clint, and that Clint was talking about how this was designed, was to reach that cost-efficient point where we can offer a competitive solution to the end customer that's competitive in market, add real value so we can hold margins, and then get a really sticky customer because we've got a competitive price point with a unique feature set. It's the pinnacle of what we want to succeed in keeping good, happy customers and build that monthly recurring revenue that is so valuable in a voice and an MSP practice these days. So what's some use cases for this? Where does this play out? So in a office environment where you've got a reception and a very traditional office environment where that reception receives most of the call traffic and then transfers out, you would put the reception on our Teams enhanced environment to allow for them to have call queuing, advanced functionality and some analytics, and then back office channels to then seamlessly pass those calls off via transfer to those end users in the Teams environment. That's a pretty typical environment. Or a semi-call center environment where you might have a small portion of users that it might be a service desk or a warranty claims environment, or a dispatch environment where they need to take calls from their end customers in a pretty consistent and advanced way, and potentially measure on that through analytics, PCI command call recording, those sort of things, versus the warehousing staff that might be picking and provisioning, where they could get away with their own mobile phone or device that's holding the team's client on them. So getting into the scoping of a Teams solution, I want to actually take you through an example of where we see this really coming into a fantastic way. And I also think it's also a really good way for prospective partners like yourselves to learn a little bit more about Access 4. So we decided to use ourselves as the test case. So what do we got? We got a typical business. Today, the business is Access 4. We've got about 100 employees around Australia and New Zealand. And so let's put us through the case of building out a Teams Flex environment for us. So we've got about 14 users in our sales environment. We've got 6 people who are dedicated to porting. In our world, porting is a very important environment, and it's an area that can go wrong, and we do it well. We have a spectacular team in our porting environment, and shout out to porting. We love your work. Technical support. Okay, so you've signed up with Access 4 and you've got a technical issue you can't resolve, then you can plug directly into our TAC team. And again, heart and soul of our business. They do a fantastic job. Another shout out to the TAC team there. Sales support, ultimately part and parcel of supporting you, our end partners, in how it is we deliver solutions. And the more technical it gets, the more sales support you need. Marketing, I'm not sure what marketing do, but we have a marketing department, has plenty of people in it, and we appreciate them a lot in some way. Got on your mark. Oh, that's right. You get free lunches from marketing. That's what we get from marketing. We like marketing. Our operational users. So again, we've got our operations team in there. Engineering. Apparently, we've got an engineering team. We don't see them. They just quietly beaver about doing something. It's pretty important. 5 9 uptime, that sort of stuff. Not bragging or anything. Product. Again, shining example of product. One of our product managers here in Clint. So good to have you. And of course, finance. We love finance because I reckon it's, I think this week we get paid. Yeah, so good stuff. So here we are, 100 users, typical makeup. How are we going to deploy our Flex environment? So what we decided here is that we've got sales, porting, and technical. These people are front-facing, partner-facing, and we need high availability, high uptime, and the use of a telephone line and or service whenever we need it. So we're going to put those users on our Teams enhanced environment. Then we've got the rest of these guys and our team at Access 4 who don't necessarily need to be available immediately, but are certainly an important part, and the ability to make or receive a call from time to time. And so we're going to put them on our channel environment. We then come up with some environments where, hey, Teams Enhanced, we've got 28 users, dedicated channels, the ability to call, to queue calls, and have that one-to-many calls available to those enhanced users. Then we've got our Teams channel for the rest of the business, and we've gone with our own contention ratio. And again, we've gone with 52 users to have 11 shared channels. Now, roughly 1:5 type ratio. But you can make some assessments, and we can certainly help you with your clients and your customers to make those contention assessments to decide just how that works. The good thing with being able to do that is that it does help you get to a price point. So the more users there are in the back office with a higher contention, then the lower the price point. But what do I mean when I say that, and how does that work from a price point? So what we did is we've done some modeling with what's out there in the marketplace and sort of come up with some average RRP prices for user and channel to get some modeling to see how this pans out. So this is how the numbers play out. Again, these are just some average recommended retail prices in the industry. If you are looking to come on as a partner, then we would engage you directly and share our price book with you, and so that you have a solid understanding. But for me, it's a compelling story. Using this modeling, you could see that in a traditional environment where you have to have all users in the user model to be able to get access to those advanced features, you've got a price point there of about $2,100 per month for those 100 users. And then you've obviously got the flex environment that allows you that contention ratio into the channel environment, and obviously cut out a $600 a month equation to get to that price point. So while that's a smaller example, the bigger the scale, the bigger the change, the bigger the example. So that's 100 users. This really works beautifully. 500, 800,000 plus environment users. So again, really good from that perspective. But again, don't be shy here. You can scale it right down if it suits. So that's the numbers. Then the enhanced add-ons. So this is where you get to choose for those users that are in that in this Teams enhanced environment. Like the reason why they're enhanced is that, for example, our sales team, we integrate to Salesforce. So we click to dial out of Salesforce, we screen pop Salesforce as they come in. What that does is it time and date stamps the environment, the call into our Salesforce records, and allows them to do that. Porting and TAC, they have their own queuing and ticketing system that it interfaces into. And so we're not only tracking our tickets, we're also tracking calls made and received, where they came from, when they came from, and we're doing that. And we do that using these sort of add-ons like iCall Suite, Dubber for call recording, and Mondigo for integrations pieces. So a whole range of services available to give you that really enhanced feature set and really build out on that Microsoft Teams, but in that flex model, being able to do it at a really competitive price point. So that we're starting to get down to the end of it. So we can't have a session without talking about SaaSboss. SaaSboss is our own intellectual property, and it is the heart and soul of Access4, and it drives all of those services. So it's a single GUI that allows you to do the provisioning. It allows you to do the quoting, the scoping, provisioning, ordering, interfacing with us from a technical support perspective, ordering devices if necessary, invoicing your end customers if necessary. It's also integrates into some of those MSP platforms like ConnectWise, for example, integrates into billing platforms like Xero. This is our interface to you that allows you that self-help environment to drive your voice practice and build that monthly recurring revenue that is so very important in this day and age. So that really comes there to the end. Happy to get through any questions that we may have had. Now, Clint, you've got any questions coming along the way?
I have one, Matt. We have a question. Are you able to outline what features are included as standard with the enhanced users versus the add-ons? The answer of which is voicemail, and WebEx soft phone. The rest are pretty much add-ons. So queues, IVRs will fall into that category.
Yep,
so I hope that answered the question.
I'll probably also add to that the ability to have that WebEx environment, and this is as an underlying soft phone environment, as a resilience or backup. So if you've got an environment where a customer has an uptime requirement beyond the normal Teams classification. My understanding, and I'm happy to be corrected by any of the industries at Teams, is about 4 nines, whereas our platform with voice is 5 nines. So if in the event you've got a Teams outage, we can spin up that WebEx soft phone to keep the environment going. And in mission critical environments, that's a good feature.
Spot on. Also with enhanced users, you'd have 3 simultaneous calls available to you. I think there are 5, if I stand to be corrected, which would include the ability to transfer calls, call forwards. So in essence, though, 3 simultaneous calls. So it's quite a bit more than the Teams native service.
Yep. And that's to my point there, where you can stack those calls for queuing and that 1-to-3 ratio behind those users. Yeah, great.
Okay. We have another question. Do you offer integration services for our end clients if we don't have Teams calling expertise in-house or training for our staff?
Yeah, so I suppose depending on the specific needs, we don't go into configuring or building Teams from a call flow perspective, because that sort of steps into, we're not in the Teams environment, but we certainly build it in our voice environment. But I think the key factor here is SaaSBOSS, right? SaaSBOSS makes this provisioning easy. So to get the environment ready, to get the tenancy ready, and the ability to make and receive calls in a Teams environment is all driven through our SaaSBOSS GUI, which we would teach, train, and work through on that. And it's relatively easy, because I reckon I could do it.
I'd have to agree with you there.
Very good. Any other questions there?
No other questions.
Okay.
All good.
Yeah, terrific. So look, that really comes to the end of it. What I would say that's available from here is that we're keen to interact with our prospective partner environment. And so if you want to have a specific demonstration of Microsoft Teams Flex, if you want to see SaaSBOSS in action, if you want to understand the full commercials and how our go-to-market strategy with our partners work, then just engage us, and we will more than happy. You can put a message in one of these chats and we'll come back to you and set up that individual environment so that, you can engage with us and we can lift the bonnet on SaaSBOSS and Teams Flex. Great. Thank you. I think we'll wind it up. Again, really appreciate everyone coming along. I hope that was a good and informative session, and I look forward to having you all on board as partners. Thanks very much. Take care.
Thank you.